Do you think it was a little risky, though, Van,
Yeah.
that she didn't go with Shapiro to kind of lock down Pennsylvania? I mean, yes, David Challenger was saying earlier, just because you pick him as your running mate doesn't mean you automatically win Pennsylvania. But I got to think it would have helped just a little bit.
Hey, listen, the conservatives, the right wing, the Republicans, they were chewing their fingernails down to the knuckle because they were afraid of a Josh Shapiro. They were afraid of a Mark Kelly. They're not as afraid of this new governor because they think they can define him. So here's the challenge you've got in this party. And people don't want to talk about it. We got to talk about it. On the one hand, you have a lot of young people who are concerned about Gaza. You have a lot of Muslims and Arabs and others. They have not felt seen by the Biden administration. You start hearing that genocide joke. That was building. That was building. And so those folks needed to have a candidate that they could feel comfortable with. This helps them in that regard. But you also have anti-Semitism that has gotten marbled into this party. You can be for the Palestinians without being an anti-Jewish bigot, but there are some anti-Jewish bigots out there. And there's some disquiet now, and there has to be. How much of what just happened is caving into some of these darker parts in the party? So that's going to have to get worked out. It's going to have to get talked through.
This is a guy who's proposed shipping more manufacturing jobs to China, who wants to make the American people more reliant on garbage energy instead of good American energy, and has proposed defunding the police just as Kamala Harris does. I think it's interesting, actually. They make an interesting tag team because, of course, Tim Walz allowed rioters to burn down Minneapolis in the summer of 2020, and then the few who got caught, Kamala Harris helped bail them out of jail. So it is more instructive for what it says about Kamala Harris, that she doesn't care about the border, she doesn't care about crime, she doesn't care about American energy, and most importantly, she doesn't care about the Americans who have been made to suffer under those policies.
So Kamala finally picked her VP, and it's not Josh Shapiro. It is Minnesota's governor, Tim Walz, I think that's how you say his name, as her running mate, right? Now, we all thought it was going to be Josh Shapiro for some reason. We all think, we thought common sense people, hey, he's a swing state governor, Pennsylvania, which is a state they really need. It was really close. Biden barely won it, but she picked someone from a pretty much safe Democratic state, Minnesota. And I want to kind of dive into it. As you saw from the intro, you saw some of the commentary. Some people like, many people believe that Josh Shapiro was the better pick. Some people think that she's doubling down towards her radical base, which is like socialist, leftist, the woke types, right? Kamala Harris on Tuesday will tap Tim Walz, the liberal Democrat. I think he's a progressive, but I'll show you an example why I think he's a progressive. Governor of Minnesota to be her running mate in November, putting a relatively unknown political figure into the spotlight with less than 100 days into the election, right? And the reason why he's unknown is that 71% of Americans do not know who Mr. Tim Walz is. And I can believe that. And before I go further into my commentary, I want to point out some of the points of why many conservatives believe that this is a bad pick, and this is why some conservatives think that this is a gift to Donald Trump. As someone who wants Kamala to lose, picking Walz is wonderful. It is political malpractice. Why? Not from a swing state, which is one I initially saw. Radical underscores her radicalism. So one thing I did notice is that I didn't know who he was. So once I did some research, you were responsible for BLM. Oh, you let BLM destroy all your major cities, and you didn't do nothing about it. You didn't have no public press conferences. You didn't allow Donald Trump to call in the National Guard. Donald Trump had to send the National Guard, right? He even admitted that he was being negligent and that he could have done something better. So I don't know, that's not a good imagery once voters start looking into him. She rejected Shapiro to please the pro-Hamas caucus, right? Say what you will about that. She's not competent, and this pick shows. Now, one thing about her radicalism is, I think one thing she knows she got going for her is the mainstream media will cover for her. So before I continue, let's see some commentary from JD Vance and some other people about her pick and why I honestly think this is a gift from a gift for Republicans. But also, I just think, do America really want more progressivism? That's a question I'll leave you off before I go into the clip. Let's take a look.
But we can get out there, reach out, make the case. And for one thing, don't ever shy away from our progressive values. One person's socialism is another person's neighborliness.
It's done.
A packed room at the St. Paul Armory erupted after the governor's signature made driver's license for all the law of the land.
I think that you guys have got to do a better job at actually forcing Kamala Harris to answer questions. This is a person who's been the presumptive Democrat nominee for 16 days. She hasn't taken a single real question from a reporter. The American people deserve to get to know the people who want to lead them, and I think it's shameful for Kamala Harris, but increasingly for the media, that she's taking a basement strategy of running from reporters instead of getting in front of them, answering tough questions about her record, and letting the American people know who she is. President Trump and I take hostile questions, we take non-hostile questions, we get out there and talk to people because we respect the American people enough to want to persuade them and not to try to run from them. So I think you guys got to do a better job.
One of his friends told me this morning that his superpower is how normal he is.
Is he? I mean, I don't know. I don't know this guy. I mean, is it normal to let your biggest city in your state burn while you're the governor for 4 days, destroying thousands of businesses, hundreds of millions of dollars in property damage while you do nothing? Does that sound normal? Is it normal for your wife to say she opened the window so she could let the smell of tire fires waft in so they could take in the smells of this radical chaos and anarchy on the streets of Minneapolis? I don't view any of that as normal. I look at this through the lens of decision making. And in two cases, they've showed us who they are. Kamala Harris absolutely bowed down to the radical left in her party by not picking Shapiro, who is Jewish. There was a nasty campaign run against him. Everybody knows it. No one wants to admit it, but everybody knows it. And she wound up choosing the person who was not Jewish and not as talented and not from the state that she has to win. He did a nice job tonight. Everybody can see why he was the best choice, but she couldn't do it because the party is somewhat awash in anti-Semitism. And for Walz, when he did what he did during the riots, to me, it was him saying, I don't have the strength or the character to stand up to this anarchy. So in two big decision points for this ticket, they've showed us they will always bow down to the radical left. So I think if you want to talk about normal, to the normal people in this country, bowing down to the radical left is not normal. It shouldn't be normal, and it should be a flashing red light to the normies of America that this is not the ticket for you.
I mean, that doesn't sound normal. I didn't support the riots when it's going on. I was like, yo, how you're destroying all these properties, right? During the BLM riots, right? That was destroying businesses in these people's communities, right? Black community always complain about how they're in food deserts, how no business want to be in their areas. And when the George Floyd happened, many businesses saw why. Many black-owned businesses were destroyed by the BLM riots. I remember seeing stories of a dude, he had a shoe shop, you know, he was a shoe collector, like one of these, these collectible sneakers. And they destroyed his business by stealing, constantly breaking into his store. He didn't have the reserves anymore to continue repairing the store. And he said, no, it's not worth it to repair the store or keep the store in this area because these people just keep breaking in and destroying and stealing my stuff, which cost me thousands of dollars. And this is some of the things that Tim Walz allowed to happen in Minnesota. Now, this is a side note. I'm gonna make this a separate video, but for now, I want to take a sneak peek. Tim Walz's policies are identical to Cori Bush, and she's getting ousted. Look at this. Cori Bush is lost by 30 plus in her primary, and they have identical policy positions. Yet we're supposed to believe that he's normal. He's a moderate. He might have been a moderate when he was a congressman, but ever since he became governor, this man is a socialist progressive. This is the progressive ticket. This is the socialist ticket. Now, some people may take my commentary and say, oh my God, that's a good thing. But it's not. It is not a good thing. So I want to highlight how Tim Walz did in the state of Minnesota during the 2022 election and tell me if this is a moderate ticket. Let's take a look.
Now, here's the key, because this county, Democrats used to be much more competitive in. Look at this. In 2012, Barack Obama won 43% of the vote in this county. It was only a little bit more than 10 points that he lost to Romney by here. The floor fell out for Democrats here when Trump came along in that Clinton race in 2016, and they haven't recovered it since. And that Walz performance here, it's a little less than Biden's number. It's more than Clinton's, and it's a far cry from what Obama was doing here. And again, I'm showing you one This is a stand-in for dozens of counties in Minnesota where you saw the same thing with large rural populations, blue-collar white populations, where Obama, and some of them he was winning, others he was holding his own just a dozen years ago. This is
why a lot of conservatives say that Josh Shapiro is more qualified than Tim Walz to get the job, is because the argument that many people on the left are using for why Tim Walz was the better choice is he appeals to blue collar voters. He appeals to the white rural class. He appeals to the working class. He doesn't. And this is what this data guru is pointing out about Tim Walz. So this is why, the Republicans or conservatives are casting this as, oh, this was just a rejection of pro-Israel, not Ben Shapiro, Josh Shapiro. And you can see the data doesn't, it don't add up. Like what you put him in as VP for, he's not actually doing the job for you. And this is within his own state. What about the Ohios? What about the Michigans? I don't think he helps you there. But I digress. Let's continue.
This is where Democrats have lost ground. In Walz in 2022, he didn't gain any ground that the Democrats had lost. He didn't do that here. He didn't do that in other counties. Walz really owes his victory, that that margin, he got 8 points there statewide. He owes it to the Twin Cities area.
It always baffles me whenever I see the maps of when they say Democrats win the state, and I look, and I'm like, all I see is a sea of red, and then I see these little blue spots. I don't know. It irks me a little bit. I'm like, yo, your whole state is being ran essentially by these 8, 9, 10 counties, and the rest of the counties are because they have less population. Now, that's how it rolls in a state, but damn, it shows you that the state, all the red counties damn near has to vote in unison, like 90% plus, for them to maintain their state. But I digress. I think I made my point here with why Walz was the worst pick. Now, I'm gonna give you the other side of the argument as well. Some people think that this is actually a good choice for Kamala Harris, right? One of the cases being that apparently one of the reasons that's been leaked, the reason why she hadn't choose Josh Shapiro is the fact that he's too ambitious to be VP. Now, I think this is fair, but maybe people have other thoughts. Let me know in the comment section. 2 sources confirm on background that the deciding factor in the VP choice was what Senator Fetterman said publicly. Concerns Shapiro has his own personal ambitions will cause him to upstage and override Kamala Harris, which is not going to be hard to do. The video Shapiro produced by Philly Mayor Sherrill Parker's team solidified the sentiment on Friday. So that video, remember, it got leaked, and everyone's like, "Oh, you guys leaked it. You guys leaked it that Josh Shapiro is going to be the pick." Many are the sources are saying, the unknown sources are saying that made Kamala go, "Oh no, I can't pick this guy. He's going to upstage me." Everyone's going to be like, "Yo, why he's not president? Why?" And I get it. Like, yo, if you let Josh Shapiro in the ticket, yeah, he gonna steal your thunder. That's the impression that Kamala got, and that scared Kamala, right? So this has been reacting. So in the end, Kamala was afraid of being upstaged by her VP after she stabbed Joe Biden in the back and stole his nomination. Laughing my ass off. Hey, I mean, I don't think they're lying, because this is pointing to an opinion I had about Kamala Harris since the beginning of her installation as the presidential nominee, is that I don't think she's competent. And stories like that kind of re-solidify that feeling that I had. All right. But, the vote blue no matter who people, they don't care. So I want to kind of end off with this. A pollster called Frank Luntz. I respect his opinion a lot. He says Kamala is now the front runner in the election. Says he would have picked Josh Shapiro over Tim Walz. You seeing a theme here? Solid points from him is Walz was a safe choice, as you saw from what I just finished illustrating and presenting to you. That seemed likely the case. But Shapiro was a better candidate because of his Philadelphia roots. Kamala Harris is now the front runner and has the momentum. Walz is a good speaker, very presentable, knows the issues, and mirrors her point of view. I think this is more of a centrist take on it, but if you look at it empirically, his execution, like, you think someone who took 4 days to respond to a tragedy that was going on in his state where people are destroying property, record property damage in Minnesota, right? Anything, pretty much the BLM riots were worse than the January 6 riots. There was more property damage. There was more people killed in the Summer of Love, the George Floyd riots. Yet you're rewarding this guy as very presentable. I don't think he's as presentable as people think. I think this is another honeymoon period, but that's just my personal thoughts. Kamala has a win on her back, and she will get another bounce after the DNC. Voters who simply aren't going to vote at all for Biden because of his age are now energized to vote for Harris. This is Trump's election to lose. First comment I'm going to react to, how could people possibly vote for her? I'm generally serious. And that's what I'm saying. Like, if you look at the substance of the policies, a lot of the things that these people stand for, how can you vote for that? Like, what are you voting for? Right? And my honest opinion, I believe that it's a dependency. It's doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. It's being comfortable voting Democrat. And I think that's the real source of voting for Kamala Harris, right? JV, someone I like to like quote a lot. She's not lying. When you grow up in the hood amongst people that are living off Section 8, WIC, SNAP, and of course you're going to view Democrats as your savior. And this is the problem I think I have with most people who are in politics, right? Because I don't see people as my saviors. I see them as merely a representation of policies or a system or a worldview of implementing certain things that I believe will get us closer in the right direction, and someone who's going to give us further away from the best solution. And I see that as Kamala's ticket, right? So this female rapper, I think she's a female rapper. I'm not a Democrat. I feel like we were brought up to be Democrats because we were poor, and it kept a lot of us in stuck mindset for slavery. And essentially, this is a type of mental slavery, especially when you do this vote blue no matter who. When many people get mad at me for saying I'm going to vote for Trump, I say, oh, I like his policies. I like the policies that he's pushing. Oh, Project 2025? I said, no, that's some fear-mongering talking point. That's some imagination you use to scare yourself into not looking into Trump's platform. Trump's platform is Agenda 47. I don't care what y'all say. I don't care what boogeyman y'all create. I don't care how y'all try to create an imagination and want me to be scared of your imagination of Trump. I'm looking at the reality of Trump. Reality of Trump is most vetted president. If he had something really egregious against him, it would have been came out. Agenda 47 is a good policy platform. In general, I think most Americans will agree with that if they took a look at the platform, but the Democrats were fear-mongering about it. But I digress. Let me know what your thoughts about the Tim Walz pick. Do you think it was good? Do you think they should have went to Josh Shapiro? Do you think it was actually a good pick? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I would like to hear what you guys are thinking. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate you guys watching to the end of the video. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.